Hi everyone and welcome back. A lot of people think that the system or the financial system will just collapse in a heap in one day. But I think the truth is it's actually already being replaced and almost no one seems to have noticed. See, there is lots of people out there who are waiting for one big event, whether it be banks failing, house prices crashing, governments panicking, stock markets just crashing, like a dramatic moment where everything just breaks. But if you look at history, that's not really how systems actually ever end. Believe it or not, they rarely collapse like that. Instead, they get replaced quietly and slowly and almost invisibly, really. So it's important that you're a part of it. It's definitely more important that you're at least aware of it. And see, the truth is the replacement has already started. It is beginning right now. And it's happening all over the world. There's nothing that anyone can do to stop it. It is just happening regardless. And it's happening very quietly at the moment. But most people, like I said, haven't noticed this yet because it doesn't look like what we would think is a revolution. In fact, it actually looks like nothing. Right now, all it is a few people who are beginning to use and adopt a different form of money, okay? Eventually, it'll move to a few businesses, and then it'll move to a few thousand, then to a few million, until eventually something that you might think strange happens. The old system, and now sure, it may still be there for a while, but fewer and fewer people will be actually using it. Fewer people will be participating in it. And that is how every major system in history has actually ended. Not with collapse, right? But with replacement. Think about money itself, okay? For centuries, the world ran on gold coins, silver coins, gold-backed currency. Entire empires built their economies around that. And then, over time, something changed. Governments started issuing paper money. See, at first, these paper notes were just claims on the gold that the person held. But over time, people stopped using the gold. It was too hard for them to move it around. It was too hard to store it, too hard to transact it. So what they did was they used the paper instead. It was easier. And eventually the gold disappeared from circulation. It wasn't moving around anymore. Now that doesn't mean that gold itself failed. Gold's gold. But it happened because a new system came along and replaced it. And it did it quietly. Think about the internet, right? Newspapers didn't collapse in a day. For years they still existed, but slowly people stopped buying them. Sure, you'll see them at the surveys, you'll see them at the supermarkets, but people aren't buying them anymore. They started reading news online instead. Then advertisers followed suit and moved everything online. The audiences moved online. And eventually, the old system that everybody knew was still there, sure, but almost no one was actually using it anymore. It had simply been replaced. Now, when people start questioning the system, when a lot of people question the system, what happens is that they usually tend to focus on the wrong things. What they do is they look at politicians, they look at regulations, they look at the laws. They definitely look at the governments, whether it be state or federal or international. Some of them dream up ridiculous ideas like thinking that they can just opt out, they can just stop paying council rates or stop paying fines, or maybe they think that they can travel and drive without a license, or they can walk into a car dealer. This is one that I've heard lately. It's just ridiculous. They think that they can walk into a car dealer and buy the car with a bill of exchange. Well, no, you can't. That's nonsense. It's hocus pocus, and it doesn't benefit anyone spreading that kind of nonsense. But see, none of those things are actually anything to do with the real foundation of the system. See, the real foundation of the system is the system's money, because whoever controls the money controls the system. That's a fact. And the money that we use today, many of you will know what it's called. It's called fiat money. And fiat money is currency that is and can be created out of thin air, out of nothing. There is no limit. There is no scarcity, no physical constraint. It simply is issued. And once money can be created like that, without limit, well, the entire structure of the economy changes. Debt becomes normal. Inflation becomes permanent, just something that we live with. Asset bubbles form. Governments just get bigger and expand. Banks grow larger and they get greedier. Because when money can be created without limit, power can expand without limit. So when someone says they want to exit the system, the real question is actually very simple. If you're going to do that, what money are you intending to use? Because if you're still using the same money, and as long as you do continue to use the same money, you're still inside the same system. You're giving this broken system power. Now, this is where a lot of confusion starts, because our wonderful friend, the internet, is full of people who claim that they know the way out. Gold, silver, cryptocurrencies, all claiming to be the solution. But when you really examine these ideas, most of them, not all of them, but most of them don't actually solve any problems whatsoever. They don't take you out of the system. Let's start with gold. Okay, for thousands of years, gold was money. Empires used it. Civilizations built their entire economies around it. And even today, many people actually believe still that gold is the ultimate escape from this broken system. But I've got news for you. Gold has significant problems. That's how we ended up where we are right now. It's heavy, it's hard to move, it's hard to divide, and it's very hard to verify. How do you know that it's 99.9% gold? Testing kits are expensive, but most importantly, gold is easy to control. History shows this again and again. Gold gets stored in vaults. Gold is centralized. Gold is guarded. And once gold sits inside vaults, paper claims start getting issued against it. Now, those paper claims eventually become the money, which is what we have today. This is exactly how our modern fiat system was born. So, while there's no doubt that gold itself can preserve your wealth, it doesn't replace the system. It becomes absorbed by the system. Silver has the same problem. Silver is physical. It's very difficult to move. It's very difficult to settle large transactions. And again, it is very easy to be controlled by the same institutions that control the current system. So precious metals, as pretty as they are not the structural exit. Now we move to cryptocurrencies, okay? And this is where a lot of confusion really begins, because not all cryptocurrencies are built for the same purpose. Each of them have their own use. In this example, I'm going to take XRP. The XRP community, the Ripple community, is incredibly passionate, but XRP was designed to work with banks inside the current system. Its entire purpose is actually to improve how money moves between financial institutions, between the existing financial institutions, faster settlement, lower costs, better efficiency. But that means it is still part of the same system. All it does is just upgrades the existing infrastructure. It does not replace the system itself. Then you've got Ethereum. I'm sure you've heard of Ethereum. That's different again. Ethereum introduced programmable money, smart contracts, decentralized finance, entire financial systems that basically run on code. And that innovation is massive, but Ethereum itself was never actually built with the same monetary philosophy as Bitcoin. Ethereum's supply can change, its governance evolves, its purpose is experimentation. See, Ethereum is building financial applications. Bitcoin is something much, much more simple and much, much more radical. Bitcoin is money. It always will be. It's pure digital money. There is no central issuer. There is no company involved. There is no authority that controls it or that can change the rules. The supply is capped and fixed. The network itself is decentralized. Anyone in the world can use it anywhere they are, without permission, without a bank, without a financial institution, and without an intermediary. For the first time in human history, money exists that is actually native to the internet. And that changes everything. Because value can now move across the planet as easily as information. Now, here's the part that most people miss. Bitcoin was not designed to sit alongside the current financial system and just be a part of it. It wasn't created to be just another investment that you add to your portfolio. It was designed to actually replace this current system entirely. It was never going to happen overnight, but it's going to happen gradually, and this is where something interesting actually starts happening. See, the transition does not look like a revolution. It looks like adoption. A shop starts accepting Bitcoin. A customer pays in Bitcoin. That's two people transacting directly with no bank, with no intermediary. Just value moving directly between people. And every time that happens, the old system loses just a little bit more relevance. Monetary systems, they just don't change quickly. They change slowly. And then suddenly, bang. First with just a few people, then a few businesses, then infrastructure, wallets, payment networks, financial tools, and eventually, here we are, millions of people participating in a brand new system, which is exactly what we are beginning to see today. Bitcoin is no longer just an experiment. It's been around now for 17 years. It's a global monetary network used by individuals, companies, institutions, even governments. And while the existing financial system still dominates, the alternative now exists. And that changes everything, because the moment people have a choice, see, the system is no longer a monopoly. And once a monetary monopoly is broken, then the transition's already begun. So the exit from the system is definitely not something that is going to be loud. It's not dramatic. It's not a revolution. Instead, it's a migration. One person at a time, one business at a time, one transaction at a time. And as that continues, well, the old system won't necessarily collapse. It could simply just become irrelevant, like paper newspapers. Because systems don't usually die when they fail, they die when people stop using them. And once you understand that, you realise something powerful. The exit from the system, it's not a moment. Instead, it's a path. And that path is right there. It's already begun. And the real question again is not whether the system itself will change one day. It's really simple. The question's really simple. How long before everyone else realises that it already has? Thanks very much for watching, guys. If you found the video valuable, educational, I hope you got something out of it. Make sure you like and subscribe. Leave a comment in the box below. Let me know your thoughts. And I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video.